Alright, another video, cucks. That's it. I just had some coffee. I was feeling a little low energy, but it was also the subject matter that put me in a low energy mood. So today we're going to talk about some other things. It's not going to be just about Forbidden Door, but it's going to be about the status of AEW and how AEW, in my opinion, is falling off. I mean, let's be real, right? We have to talk about this. We have, first of all right, for a while there, they were having some pretty impactful debuts. I mean, you could say it how you want. I could say it how I want as well, and I have. I can call CM Punk and Daniel Bryan jobbers, and they are, in my opinion. I mean, they're not interesting. In my opinion, they never drew a dime. But the facts are what the facts are. The facts are what the facts are. These guys are big signings for a company like AEW. They're comparable to like Sting and Christian being signed by TNA. At least the Christian. Sting is a little bit higher up. Kurt Angle's a little bit higher up, so it's not exactly the same thing. But, they're comparable. They're big names, right? Then they started signing jobbers. I mean, before that they were signing jobbers too. Then you have Kyle O'Reilly winning matches. What the hell is that all about? It's never going to happen, bro. Then you have Keith Bearcat Lee and Isaiah Swerve Scott, or whatever the fuck his name is in AEW. Nobody wants to see these guys, especially Keith Lee. I mean, Keith Lee is just like, he had a moment. Like, it's like this is how you know these wrestlers are shit. Like, their entire moment is their debut. After that shock value goes away, nobody is clamoring to see Keith Lee. Jay Lethal, one of the few wrestlers who has some sort of name recognition and has never wrestled for WWE. Instead of pushing him to the top like they should have, instead they have him drop to like some jabron and team with Sanjay Dutt and the giant Indian guy. Who the hell cares, So, but none of this even matters because the most recent signings are the worst. I mean, we have Stokely Hathaway. I mean, come on. What's next, motherfucks? What is next? You tell me, actually, what is next? What's next? They're going to sign Gigi Dolan from NXT and pretend she's a legend? They already did it with Tony Storm. Nothing came of that, cucks. So what the hell is the point of this? Now, with all this being said, it's not just the signings that are problematic. It's the concept behind the signings. The idea that they don't want to create their own stars. They're too lazy to do that. They've had people like Pac and Penta and all these other people that could have been rebranded by now as legit AEW guys. They put all their eggs in the Cucky Rhodes basket, and we all know how that turned out. And with that being said, I will say it like it is. In my personal opinion, and I know this is going to sound hypocritical because I think Cody Rhodes sucks too, and I'm not wavering from that. That's a fact of life. But I'm going to tell it to you this way. Them losing Cody Rhodes is a much bigger deal than gaining everyone that they've gained in the last 2 years. Now, here's why, right? It's not because Cody Rhodes is somehow better than Malachi Black or Miro or Daniel Bryan. Like, he's not. He's not better than these guys. So some of these guys are better than him. Like Miro, I would say, is better than Cody Rhodes. I'd rather have Miro. If I was starting a company, I'd rather have Miro than Cody Rhodes, He's not better than Wardlow either. He's not better than CM Punk in many ways, like in terms of like name recognition and things like that. But he's better because of the story that's associated between him and AEW itself, right? He is AEW. Like, people are too stupid to see it, right? They still, this last Wednesday, they had the Casino Battle Royal. This is all predicated upon Cody Rhodes' subtle gimmick when he first left and joined the Indies. His entire gimmick, he would say, I'm betting on myself. I bet on myself, right? I mean, in my opinion, he stole this from AJ Styles, who literally did the same thing when he left TNA and went to New Japan, and now is like doing the best things in his career, obviously, right? So it's like, maybe not the best matches, but, obviously he's getting paid the most he's ever been paid. So it's one of those things, right? But here's the problem. I don't think that the people in charge are smart enough to understand this. More importantly, it's either that or they think that the fans are not smart enough to understand this, right? It's very possible that Tony Khan really does understand that the entire gambling gimmick of AEW, like you notice it, Casino Battle Royal, All In, All Out, The Buy-In, Double or Nothing, right? All of these things are gambling terms, right? Like, the Joker, who's the Joker, right? All of these things are gambling terms. They have presented themselves. The company has presented themselves as gamblers, right? The gimmick of AEW is that they're gambling to see if they can hang in with WWE. They understand that it's a tough battle. This is the gimmick, right? They understand it's a tough battle, but they're going to give it their shot. They're going to shoot their shot, right? This is a direct extension of Cody Rhodes. And as a result, Cody Rhodes was featured prominently in this dump of a company until he left, right? Tony Khan should have done everything he could to keep Cody Rhodes. You have to consider the reality of the situation. CM Punk is 47, motherfuckers, or some shit like that, or 44. Who cares? CM Punk is in his 40s. Now, being in your 40s is not old or anything like that. He can still go for 10 years if he wanted to. But does he? Does he want to? He's already wealthy. He has other projects that he's working on. He wrestles once every couple of weeks. To be fair, he's wrestled more than I thought he would have. But nevertheless, he's kind of slacking in that department too, if you ask your boy. But the facts are these. Cody Rhodes was out there wrestling as often as he could, trying to put people over once in a while. Most of the time, motherfuckers, he was putting himself over. But he was trying to put people over, and he put a few people over, like Sammy Guevara, you know. But the facts are what the facts are. More important than putting people over and having good matches is the fact that Cody Rhodes is like the father of this company. He is the face. He's the John Cena of his company. He was presented as such, and now they let him go. And now he's becoming the face somehow of WWE. I mean, obviously second to Roman Reigns. He's not Roman Reigns, but you know, he's the face of Raw. He's like the main guy on Raw. He keeps beating Seth Rollins left and right. So them losing Cody Rhodes is a much bigger problem than gaining CM Punk and Daniel Bryan, who has done absolutely nothing. He's just come out there, had a few matches, and now he's part of like a faction led by William Regal. Like, I mean, come on. What the hell is this? William Regal, who has been like a lackey his whole career, now is a leader of a faction with like multiple world champions. And Wheeler Yuta for some reason, right? So, with all this being said, the question then becomes, what is it that AEW needs to do? In my opinion, it's very clear. All right, you have Keith Lee and you have a few of these other jobbers create a faction, right? Create a faction that basically is the former WWE guys. If they had any balls, they would just call them the former WWE guys, or the former big guys, or the former, you know, you can't call them the main eventers because, you know, they were all jobbers. Like, literally not one of them was anywhere near a pay-per-view main event or even a Raw main event, if you ask me. But you have these people create like a WWE faction, just like the Main Event Mafia, right? And then you have them get destroyed by, quote-unquote, the AEW originals, right? This puts over the AEW originals, the young guys. Now, I'm not here sitting and advocating for young guys deserve it more than old guys. Absolutely not. There's no reason why Wheeler Yuta should beat CM Punk just because of their age. Wheeler Yuta should be beating people like CM Punk because CM Punk is transitory. He's not going to stick around forever, right? Cody Rhodes also was not going to stick around forever. Everybody with 2 cents in their brain knew that Cody Rhodes was going to eventually dump to WWE. Look at my old videos, cucks. I predicted it from like day one. I said it and it happened. Just like every fucking else that I've predicted, right? The haters get enough credit for fucking calling it right almost every damn time, motherfuckers. So with that being said, let's consider this. Let's consider this, right? If CM Punk beats Wheeler Yuta, tough shit. Wheeler Yuta, nobody cares, right? But CM Punk does not get elevated either. CM Punk beating Dante Martin is meaningless. Dante Martin beating CM Punk is huge, right? However, in TNA, when this all bullshit started, or WWE, there's still value in, for example, John Cena beating, like, I don't know, Umaga, right? Umaga is not better than John Cena. Neither is Wheeler Yuta. He's not better than CM Punk. However, CM Punk's role in this capacity should be to put over young talent. He doesn't have to lose to everyone, but he needs to put over young talent. And I don't mean young talent like 22 or 23-year-old Wheeler Yuta. Put over Jon Moxley, who's in his 30s. You know, put over Jon Moxley, have a competitive match, and have Jon Moxley beat him clean. That's what would make sense, right? Nobody is saying Jungle Boy should be the AEW World Champion. But what I'm saying is that Jungle Boy should be the mid-carder, and someone like Wardlow, by now, should have been pushed to the main event. I don't know why he hasn't. He's obviously their biggest, like, he's not their biggest star, but he is the guy in that company that has the highest ceiling, right? Like, there is a very small probability that Wardlow could become the next Batista, right? He could be signed with WWE, and they could push him correctly and make him into like a Batista-esque guy. I would say that's about 15 to 20%. You know, more likely than not, he's going to go there and become the next EC3, but that's neither here nor there. However, the probability of Wheeler Yuta becoming the next Batista or John Cena is 0. The probability of CM Punk becoming that guy is 0. Daniel Bryan, 0. Miro, 5%, but lower, right? You have to push the people that have the highest ceiling. TNA made this mistake in the past with Elijah Burke, or D'Angelo De Niro as they called him, right? And these are mistakes that you cannot come back from, right? They are doing the same thing that WCW did, and they are doing the same thing that TNA did when you had people like Val Venus beating Christopher Daniels, which made me almost want to throw up. I remember watching that. I'm like, oh, God. I'm like, that's kind of cool. Val Venus is here. He'll have a quick match with Daniels. Daniels is going to pin him and solidify himself as a guy who's capable of beating WWE jobbers. Right? No. Instead, the WWE jobber went on and beat Daniels. So there you have it. In my opinion, from that moment forward, Daniels was never considered any kind of legitimate wrestler ever again. You know, he went from like a potential soon-to-be main event TNA guy to a complete jobber TNA guy. You know, he was better as Curryman if you ask your boy. So what I'm getting at is this, right? You have to push these young guys. And when I say young guys, I mean young guys. You know, because this argument keeps going in different directions, right? Like WWE signed Samoa Joe who's like 38, and they're like, oh, Samoa Joe should beat John Cena who's like 41. What the fuck? Why? You know, John Cena's way better. Like Samoa Joe's not gonna have this long WWE career. He's not gonna be there for 30 years. You know what I mean? Like that's why Austin Theory and these pushes are making some sense, because it's like Austin Theory is 24. If by 26 he becomes world champion, or by 25 beating Randy Orton's like record, let's say, if he becomes world champion like this year, let's say, right, then you know that they're going to push him as a legitimate star, as someone that's going to be a big deal for the next 20, 30 years, right? You have to think long term sometimes, right? WWE can't afford to do that because their stars go on to Hollywood and do other things that are more important. But AEW can, because quite frankly, the levels aren't the same. But they don't do that. Instead, they have Jungle Boy being a meaningless dinosaur tag team for 3 years now. What the hell is that all about, right? Fix it, AEW. Fix it. Or else, you know what's going to happen? I'll tell you what's going to happen. You're going to have to rely on Jericho again and again and again. Even MJF, who's getting over. Like, why don't you make this guy the champion? Is he a great champion? No, but at least you elevate him. I think the answer is very clear. It's like MJF is clearly a WWE guy. He's clearly going to go to WWE probably within the next year or two, you know? Like, it's almost 100%. Like, they say 2024, but he might go earlier. Who the hell knows, right? He's going to go. He's not staying in this dump of a company. He knows that he has a shot. Now, does he have a bigger shot than Wardlow? Absolutely not. Does he have, like, a real shot? In my opinion, no. I mean, in my opinion, this guy has EC3 written all over him. I don't think MJF is going to ever become anything higher than, like, let's say, The Miz. I don't think MJF was ever going to be WWE champion. I don't think like fucking any one of these guys in AEW has what it takes to be a legit WWE champion. I mean, even Cody Rhodes. It looks like Cody Rhodes it's gonna happen, but the point is, they don't have what it takes. AEW needs to do better, right? They need to stop signing jobbers like Swerve Strickland and fucking whatever the fuck his name is, Stokely Hathaway. You know? Oh, Tony Storm is. Who the fuck cares? Nobody gives a shit about Tony Storm. No one cares. She's not drawing any dimes. She's not drawing any eyeballs. So beat it, jabron. That's what I gotta say about that. Cucks. AEW is sucking. Losing Cody Rhodes is a bad deal for them. This has been a bad year for AEW. They can say all they want. Oh, we're number one in the UK. What does that mean? 300,000 people watch that, and 250,000 people watch Raw. Oh, what time is Raw at? I don't even know. Maybe like Raw is like a channel nobody watches or something. Nobody would willingly watch this over Raw, I don't think, in England at least. At least the casuals. I mean, I prefer, to be honest, I prefer AEW over WWE right now in terms of like actually like looking forward to shit, because they are still fresh and exciting, but they're not good. You know, that's my whole criticism of AEW. It's not just that AEW sucks, because they do. It's more like, what could they have become? They could have become something amazing. You know, imagine if like when Daniel Bryan debuted, they had like 5-6 guys who they had built ready to wrestle someone like Daniel Bryan.